هاي everyone، مرحبا بكم في الابيزود جديد ديال نو توكس. هذا الابيزود غيكون بالعربيه لان الضيفه ديالي من مصر. اسم ديالها لبنى علام، عندها 27 سنه وعندها bachelor's and master's degree in political science، يعني العلوم السياسيه، من اليونيفرسيتي وجامعه القاهره و The Graduate Institute of Geneva في سويسرا. لبنى خدمت بزاف مجموعه ديال لي انيشيتيفز و ان جي اوز، وكتخدم اليوم اون طونك كونسلتنت، يعني مستشاره كتركز على فهم هياكل وديناميات الجماعات المسلحه والهياكل الاجتماعيه في منطقه الشرق الاوسط وشمال افريقيا. انا ولبنى ما كنعرفوش بعضياتنا شخصيا، ولكن تعرفت عليها في انستغرام، و I'm very excited to share her story with you today باش تعرفوا عليها أكثر وتهضر لنا على مجموعة ديال الحاجات اللي عاشتهم لبنى سواء في مصر أو لا خارج مصر. مرحبا بك لبنى.
Hi Nouhaila, I'm very excited إن أنا أبقى موجودة معاكي في in a new episode that you're doing. And زي ما انتي قلتي إن احنا اتعرفنا على بعض through Instagram و through مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي، وده it proves that social media has to some extent a very positive side, which it brings together people with the same aspects, with the same thinking, with the same thought, and then you can exchange. So it's great to be with you.
I'm going to speak a bit of Moroccan dialect, but if you don't understand me, you can just ask me that.
No, I understand Moroccan. My best friend when I used to study in the US, she was Moroccan, and at the beginning she would speak, and then I would be very embarrassed because she understands me and I cannot understand her. And then afterwards, I could understand her very well.
Okay.
That was 5 years ago, but I think the skills, they don't get lost. So I hope my skill of Moroccan is still intact.
It's okay. Well, either way, I'm going to try to mix it شوية بالعربية شوية بالانجلي. And I'm going to try to avoid French altogether.
لا يا ريت. لا خالص. عندي عقدة منه أصلا، يعني بلاش كلغة.
I know. So I'm going to try to avoid French altogether. It's going to be a mixture بالعربية وبالإنجليزية.
Perfect.
I'm going to dive in and start asking you أولا about your background، وخاتقولي لي فين كبرتي وفين كتعيشي دابا.
فأنا عشت على طول عمري في القاهرة، في مصر، وفي الجامعة برضو كنت في جامعة القاهرة لغاية سنة ثالثة، وبعدين سافرت أخدت سنة 1 year abroad في American University في DC، وبعدين رجعت قعدت سنة خلصت الجامعة، وبعدين سافرت سويسرا for the masters زي ما انتي قلتي في Graduate Institute، وبعد ما خلصت اشتغلت في مركز أبحاث تبع الجامعة، وقعدت 3 سنين، وبعدين رجعت مصر في مارس 2020 مع الكورونا.
That's great. Yeah. إلا غادي تشرحي لشي واحد الحياة في مصر، شي واحد اللي ما عمره كان في مصر، مثلا أنا ما عمرني مشيت لمصر، كيفاش هي the culture in مصر and the life there؟
مصر حلوة، يعني أنا هقولك أنت لازم تيجي علشان تشوفي مصر، يعني بعيدا عن الفترة اللي احنا فيها دلوقتي في لوك داون، بس مصر بلد ريتش قوي أو بلد غنية. يعني أنت هتيجي في البحر، هتقعدي على البحر تعملي تريلاكس، وبعدين ممكن تروحي الأقصر وأسوان هتلاقي الحضارة الفرعونية اللي من آلاف السنين، هتروحي القاهرة هتلاقي ميكس الحضارة الإسلامية والقبطية واليهودية والفرعونية، فهي ميكس جميل. والشعب المصري طيب وبيرحب لو حد جاي من بره، وسبيشالي لو حد جاي من بلد عربية بنبقى عايزين نعمل الواجب معاه زي ما بنقول. والعيشة في مصر سهلة وحلوة، طبعا في challenges، بس at the end of the day الناس في مصر الميزة فيهم ان هم بيخففوا على بعض وبيخلوا الحياة سهلة، بس يعني انا بحب الحياة في مصر وعشان كده رجعت.
What is ملي مشيتي قريتي abroad, what is the thing that you missed the most اللي توحشتي بزاف في مصر؟
ان الدنيا تفضل فاتحة لمتأخر. يعني انا في مصر السوبر ماركت 24 ساعة ديليفري، ماكدونالدز، كي اف سي، كل حاجة، اي حاجة ديليفري 24 ساعة. مثلا الشخص اللي بيكوي الهدوم انت ممكن تكلميه الساعة 2 الفجر، ممكن نبعت لكم مكوى، ابعتيها لنا هنبعت لك حد. فالحياة سهلة في مصر. لما رحت سويسرا، وبعدين السوبر ماركت بيقفل 5 بي ام، 5 الظهر. يعني ايه؟ في الويكند لما بيتأخر ساعات بيقفل 7 بالليل، وبعدين ده المتأخر. فقعدت حابة ادجست، وبعدين حسيت لا انا عايزة ارجع مصر بقى للحياة. طب اللي هو ريستورانتس ما بتقفلش، ممكن نخرج الساعة 12 بالليل عادي. فدي الحاجة اللي وحشتني اكتر حاجة.
That's really cool. Even in Morocco ما عندناش مصباح نغت
مواعيد.
24 ساعة. No, we have a lot of supermarkets and stores they close late على حسب المدن طبعا، ولكن كيسدوك مع 10 الليل 8 على حساب، ولكن ما كاينش شي حاجة كتبقى 24 ساعة. قليل بزاف. But it's really really cool. وبغيت نعرف علاش اختارتي تقراي political science.
أنا من وأنا صغيرة وأنا interested in politics. يعني أنا I usually have a political stance، و I usually whatever is happening حواليا بيبقى دايما عندي موقف منه. يعني بعرف أفورميليت رأي قوي وأقوله، وعندي موقف سياسي يعني من وأنا صغيرة. وأنا برضو I believe إنه everything is includes the political dynamic. يعني كل حاجة بتحصل حوالينا، حتى في العلاقات ما بين الناس وفي العلاقات في الشغل، بيبقى there is a dynamic somehow which is a political dynamic. So this is why I was very interested to study political science. وكمان كان مع بداية الربيع العربي، وأنا دخلت الجامعة سنة 2011، فكان لسه بقى مومنتم السياسة، وأنا كنت بقى ابتديت أبقى activist على تويتر بقى، و very active on Facebook, which I quit any kind of political activism. بس at that point I was very very active من تقريبا من 2011 ل 2015.
I get you. It's very important, especially during the Arab Spring, I guess, especially for youth. Did that change anything in your life? I mean, قلتي لي ملي كنتي صغيرة وملي كنتي كبرتي وكنت دائما عندك رأي، ولكن ملي بديتي تقراي on a formal basis, as in you've been educated in political science، واش تغيرت فيك شي حاجة؟ واش رجعتي الرأي ديالك كتقوليه differently؟ واش كاينه شي حاجه تبدلت فيك ملي قريتي political science؟
أكيد في حاجات كتير اتغيرت. يعني غير لما تبقي حاجة بتعمليها you're forming, for example forming my opinions، كنت ببقى حد قوي. يعني it's either black or white. باخد الموقف اللي هو اتفرج على الاخبار. I don't do further analysis. اتفرج على الاخبار، اتفرج على التوك شو، ومنهم بشوف رأيي ايه. بعد الدراسة طبعا الدنيا بتختلف. يعني you start broadening your scope of analysis. ما تبصيش مثلا على لو في مثلا مشكلة حاجة اجتماعية معينة، بتبصي لا على الاسبكت الاقتصادي، وعلى اسبكت المجتمع نفسه، وعلى الاسبكت السياسي، و on the international level. فآرائي طبعا اتغيرت كتير. وفي حاجات أنا كنت مثلا كنت مقتنعة بيها جدا، لا رأيي اتغير يعني 180 درجة بعد الدراسة، وبعد ما بفهم الدنيا ماشية ازاي.
فهمتك. طبعا اصلا الواحد ما خصوش يكون extremist in whatever you say whatever you stand for. مهم ان الواحد يشوف ياخذ معلومه من the media, especially because the media is biased. It's very very biased. يعني الواحد خصو ياخذ the information ويمشي يقلب هو ويكون رأي ديالو الشخصي. وعلاش انت لبنى ملي قريتي political science، قريتي a bachelor's degree في political science في القاهرة، وقررتي انك تمشي تزيدي a master's degree في جنيفا؟ why did you do that؟
علشان أنا كنت عايزة أمشي في تراك إن أنا I love studying. يعني I study very little. يعني أنا من الناس اللي على طول بتخرج و I study very little، بس أنا when I do it I do it very very well. فأنا I felt إنه السفر عامة، يعني أنا بحب السفر بس مش بحب السفر السياحة، بحب السفر for a purpose, because through this you will get to know more people, spend time with them, a prolonged time with them, تحتكوا بمواقف. فأنا كنت حاسة إنه لما أنا هسافر masters political science it's going to enrich my knowledge and my perspective. يعني أنا حسيت إنه غير لما أدرسها في مصر، لا أنا لما أدرسها مع الطلاب والgraduate institute it's an international hub, it's among the 5 best universities to study masters in and international relations. So I felt that إنه to be integrated in this international realm, and then there are going to be discussions, and no, definitely I chose to continue this track abroad, and also I'm thinking about doing a PhD for the same reason.
That's great. It's very,
Yeah.
very good. And I encourage and I applaud your motivation to study furthermore. علاش لبنى بغيت نعرف besides the fact أن مشيتي لجنيفا and you said that's a very good institute and it's a very renowned school to go to. Was it easy؟ كان سهل لك تمشي من القاهرة لجنيفا باش تقبلي في هذا الانستيتوت؟ How was the process؟
أنا لما سافرت أمريكا اللي هي 1 year abroad، ساعتها قررت إن أنا لا، من ساعة ما رجعت وأنا قلت لا أنا هخلص جامعة وهمشي، يعني هسافر بره وأدرس ماسترز بره. فابتديت بروسس السيرش من ساعة ما رجعت من أمريكا، إيه الجامعات الكويسة. وأنا بالنسبة لي برضو الفاينانشال aspect is very important، فكان لازم جامعة كويسة plus it offers good scholarships. So من هنا ابتديت بقى البروسيس الرايتنج الابليكيشنز وابلاينج وكده مرهقة يعني. in the middle you usually lose faith إنه أنا عمالة أقدم ومحدش بيرد عليا وأنا خلاص هعمل copy paste ده في ده. بس كانت it was worth it at the end، إنه لما تخشي بقى في البروسيس وتبتدي تجد بقى positive replies وتقارني ما بين الجامعات. بروسيس صعبة، يعني مش هقول ان دي اسهل حاجة في الدنيا، والبي اتش دي اصعب كمان، بس it's worth it.
I want to know though, how did you finance your studies? Do you have any advice for people right now اللي ساكنين في North Africa or the Middle East اللي بغاو يمشيو يقراو abroad? What advice would you give them?
So the first advice I would give them is to be good at what you're doing first. يعني في ناس ساعات بتستخف بدراسة الجامعة أو دراسة المدرسة وتقول لا أنا عايزة أخلص وأسافر بره. لا، إنك تبقي شاطرة دي حاجة مهمة، علشان يجيلك offers من جامعات كويسة ويجيلك scholarships كويسة، يعني يبقى في دعم مادي كمان، انك بتسافري مش بتدفعي حاجة، دي برضو مش هتيجي لحد خايب دراسيا. تاني حاجة انه اشتغلوا مع الدراسة، يعني ما تخلوش الدراسة هي الاكسبيرينس بتاعتكم الوحيدة، وجربوا. يعني ما تمسكوش في حاجة معينة تقولوا أنا عايزة أشتغل ده، لا، لو الحاجة دي مش متوفرة جربوا حاجات تانية. و especially at the beginning stay very open, because this enriches your CV when you have multiple experiences, multiple activities. يعرفوا إنك مش شخصية اللي هو بس قاعدة في الجامعة، لا، أنت قاعدة وتعرفي ناس you interacted with people and you have so much experience. You're like a well-rounded personality. Another advice is search. يعني طول ما انتوا قاعدين دوروا، و LinkedIn is a very good platform to do this, and people are actually very helpful on LinkedIn. يعني أنا I didn't expect this، إن الناس هتبقى they are very helpful when you reach out to them. يعني أنا لما جيت أشوف في الgraduate institute كان في ناس معايا في الجامعة أكبر مني بسنة، هم اللي ساعدوني وقالوا لي do this do that. They need this, for example they are searching for people with certain qualifications, you would fit in it perfectly. So search for people who have similar experiences like you to help you. يعني ما فيش حاجة إن الإنسان ask for help.
I agree 100%. ما عنديش شي حاجة أخرى نزيدها زعما على هادشي اللي قلتي. I agree حتى أنا قريت في المغرب ومن بعد جيت لفرنسا France to study justement and I completely agree with everything you said because I had to do it too. I had a lot of activities aside. I did things. My CV was also filled with a lot of experiences besides school. So I agree 100%. And هدرتي في واحد لابارتي قلتي ان الواحد خصو يخدم ويكون عنده experiences besides school. What experiences did you have besides school whilst you were in Cairo?
لما كنت في مصر وقت الجامعة ابتديت أشتغل supervisor for little kids in summer activities. So when I was young, I used to go to this summer school. And then when I grew up, this was my first paid job ever, to be a supervisor. And it's very nice. It teaches you responsibility and you're in charge of kids. You listen to what teachers are giving them. So you learn a lot. So this was my first job in Cairo. I was also involved in, but these weren't jobs. They were also, as you said, extracurriculars in the MUN at Cairo University. It's called ALMN, Arab League Model United Nations. And I was also part of ISEC. And I also traveled with them to Kenya, which was my first time to travel alone to do some community work. And these two experiences, I believe, were what pushed me to go further. يعني هي ما بتبقاش steps كبيرة، تبقى experience صغيرة then experience صغيرة. Then لما سافرت كينيا next summer I was like no, I want to spend. كينيا كانت تقريبا حوالي 3 شهور. دي I was like no, I want to spend سنة أو أكتر أعيش لوحدي. This is also one perk of having some small experiences during study.
Yeah, I get you. And that's really, really interesting that you did that. And I just wanted to know from your experience, which في القاهرة part-time jobs are a popular thing to do. Because I understand كنتي في مخيم or summer camp. يعني كنتي كتعرفي الناس في summer camp and it was probably easier for you to get that opportunity. But I just want to know if it's a popular thing لأن في المغرب وبزاف ديال البلدان العربية باش تمشي تخدم a part-time job is not very common. How is the situation for youth in Egypt?
Right now يعني أنا ممكن دلوقتي الدنيا اتحسنت شوية، يعني بقى في فرص تحت مسمى internship أو unpaid internship. فبقى دلوقتي بقى في كتير especially في multinational companies و in banks. They usually seek undergrads to come in summer and have an internship, and so now it's very easy. But مسمى part-time job, I did it يعني زي ما هي موصوفة part-time job more in US and in Switzerland. لأنه في مصر مش أنا مثلا بالنسبة لي وبالنسبة للسوسايتي اللي حواليا مش حاجة مقبولة قوي يعني. ودي برضو من الحاجات اللي ساعدتني شوية كمان to give me experience, practical experience في الحياة، خبرة اجتماعية وخبرة للتعامل مع الناس ومسؤولية، وبرضو ساعدتني ماديا في العيشة برا. So I used to, my mindset was never say no to any opportunity. So I worked as a babysitter, as a pet sitter, as a freelance writer, receptionist, in a pet shelter, whatever. I find an opportunity of a small job, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to apply and to volunteer and do it. And this has helped me a lot. Beside the big experience I'm traveling for study or for an internship or whatever, no, this is took a big chunk of my experience out there.
Yeah, I completely get you. And I think it's really, really important to have part-time jobs. And I tend to always ask people that I host, that are from the MENA region to ask them what they think about having a part-time job and doing side activities, because it's seen as a taboo in our society for young boys and girls to go and have part-time jobs. So yeah, I really hope that people change that mindset and that it becomes more normalized عادي أن الواحد كيقرأ وكيخدم at the same time. And I want to know though, وعرفت أنك هدرتي إلى هذا الشيء ديك الساعة وقلتي أن رجعتي الماستر لأن عندك عزيز ماستر the you know your environment that you grew up in that you liked and everything. ولكن I know that at the same time there are more opportunities abroad وبزاف ديال الناس كيبغيو يبقاو في الخارج وكيبغيو يمشيو يخدموا ويسكنوا تما. Why is for you personally, why was it important انك ترجعي تخدمي في مصر؟
لان انا حاسه انه ساعات وانتي اكيد هتبقي يعني هيبقى عندك الشعور ده انه ساعات لما بنعيش بره life moves very fast and sometimes you can get carried away and overwhelmed, but then home it makes you feel grounded. يعني it makes you feel you have roots. يعني أنا I'm not floating away abroad doing whatever I want. No, there is somewhere where I belong. This is me. This is where my family and my friends are, and I feel that it gives you strength to spend some time home. لأنه ساعات sometimes abroad you feel no matter how much you have friends who become your family, but it's like your recent support family. But it's still, sometimes you feel lonely and you can get carried away in this loneliness. But then when you get back home, you can feel like, no, I'm never alone. I usually have people who've got my back. So معنى ان انا رجعت مصر ده مش معناه ان انا مش هسافر تاني، لان انا I like living abroad and coming back, but I like coming back. يعني انا I like to spend years, for example, 3 or 4 years at home before traveling and having my next experience. And also because I feel I'm traveling, I'm gaining so much knowledge, so much experiences. So, and I had my school education and my university education in this country. So I believe it deserves some of my knowledge or some of my what I've learned to pass it on to other people or through working here. So I believe this is also a right that my country has.
Yeah, that's a very important point, I think. وبزاف ديال الناس, I guess, and students, there's like two parties. كاين اشخاص اللي كيقول لك انا البلد ديالي ما عطانيش وما عاونيش وما قرانيش, so I'm gonna just go somewhere else. But then there are other people that are grateful and they're like you are, you decide that this is where I come from and this is my country, this is where I grew up, so I want to give back to the community, and that's really important, I think. So I know that now you're back ورجعتي. وخا تقول لي دابا شنو كديري حاليا؟ عرفتك كتخدمي as a consultant, but can you tell me what your first job was?
My first job, a formal job, إنه يعني I'm going to work and getting paid, it was in Switzerland. I was working with a research center affiliated with a graduate institute, and I think this was my first proper job where I was getting paid, waking up early. I felt I'm like part of the organization. Before I had so many internships and so many I would call them internships or small jobs, but this was when I felt like an employee, you know.
And how was that experience for you? How did you land that job?
Through the university portal for the jobs. I just found, so I usually, this is a trick that I usually use when I go through any research portal. I'm like Control F, Middle East, Arabic, Arab world, MENA region, North Africa, because this is what I know. And I usually, I want to like find something that I'm really interested in. So this is my like premier focus. And this is how I found the job.
And what do you do now?
So right now I'm a consultant. So I'm doing also with I'm dealing with research, and I work as like a research assistant, and also so it's like it's a bit freelance because I'm like working from home. I'm not like on a fixed contract, but still I'm doing what I still continuing like the journey that I started in Switzerland. So I'm very interested in gender and in gender dynamics in general. So I wanted to see the gender dynamics in armed groups, in groups that claim, like, I hate saying like Islamic terrorist groups, but groups that affiliate themselves with Islam. So my case study was to focus on women in ISIS and to study the dynamics on how ISIS uses women through their social media. So I started studying how women are perceived by ISIS through the images that ISIS publishes on their social media. That includes women. Because before, like for example, with similar groups like Al-Qaeda, for example, we never see them posting their, although there was no social media, but still we never saw images of women who were part of these terrorist groups. But now we are seeing more women posting, women on Twitter, for example. I found these accounts of women documenting their daily life. So they're basically like terrorist influencers, like going to the souk with my friends. طبخت الطبخة دي النهاردة لجوزي. ف they are using the same social media, techniques, بس بيستخدموها في الجماعة بتاعتهم. There are lots, so I can share with you my if you're
Please do.
interested.
I
Yeah,
didn't know about this.
it's very interesting because I'm very interested in social media, and I thought that bringing two things that I love together, like gender and social media together, I'd never get bored or get demotivated while doing my master's degree. And this expanded to later being interested in armed groups and seeking for work in this area.
Do you guys in Egypt have a lot of armed groups? Do you see that on a daily basis? Did that affect you growing up?
Mhm. Growing up, no, but I think the part after we had the revolution, and then we had the Muslim Brotherhood in power, and then terrorist groups started to infiltrate Sinai, and we are basically having kind of a war there that our army is fighting. And I don't know if you also want to know that you can watch the series El Ikhtiyar that was airing this Ramadan. And because usually they try not to involve the people so much in what's happening in Sinai so that we don't get demotivated. And we usually read news like bombing in a Kamin, for example, في جنود ماتوا، بس عمرنا ما كنا بنحس اوكي خبر وخلاص ربنا يرحمهم بنتعاطف. بس لما شفنا بقى عمل through the media ده، لا فهمنا قد ايه بقى حجم خطر الجماعات المسلحة دي في سيناء. ف it didn't affect me growing up, but إن هو من وأنا صغيرة، بس now we are living through it.
I understand. And you should send me. I'm gonna watch all of these documentaries that you mentioned because I didn't get around to it, but it's very important. And you spoke about women. هدرتي إلا كيفاش you have an interest in, women and social media, and that's what you study about. But as a working woman in Egypt, what kind of challenges are you faced with every day?
هو أكبر تشالنج وبالتالي دي عندنا كلنا، اللي هو خلاص درستي وعملتي ماسترز وسافرتي وانبسطتي واتفسحتي. Where is the family? Where is your family? You should focus, like you should get married. Where are the grandkids and stuff like that? So I believe this is the main challenge that women face, in working women or career-oriented women face in the Egyptian society, or I think in most societies in the MENA region. We all face these pressures. Is that if a man did what I did, he will be like full. But then for me, no, there is a part that's missing, So I think this is the main challenges that faces any working woman. And also, I could say prejudices also from men and women, about women who choose to take a different track than most of the other people. so ما فيش انه خلاص كل واحد حر، يعني في حد اختار الطريق ده، في حد اختار الطريق ده، ما فيش كده، يعني في box ولازم الكل يفت into this box, and if not so it's your fault. So
And how do you deal with that?
so first it was a pressure انه I had to explain myself a lot, and this put I don't owe you anything, I don't have to explain for you. يعني أنا مش explain لبابايا ومامتي وأهلي، بس لما حد يجي من الفراغ ويحاسبني على قراراتي، يعني أنا I don't owe you anything. So at the beginning I took that I have to explain my choices. I tell people that I have different experiences than you, and these experiences made me have a different perspective. I saw different things in the world, so my reality is different than yours. This was my first approach, and it put so much pressure on me. خلاص بعد كده how I cope with it بالتجاهل، ولا أكني سمعت حاجة، اللي هو هنفرح بيكي امتى. شكرا. That's it for anything. That for any negative comment I try to like leave it out by like smiling, okay, inshallah, that's it.
That's a good approach.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, and I think a lot of girls would totally relate, and they live this on a daily basis. But that's a great thing, and I also know for people that are listening to us, Lubna is also a very active person on social media. As much as she's interested in all those really great subject that we talked about, she's also very active on Instagram. That's where I got to know her. And I want to know a bit about your community. When did you decide to start creating content on Instagram, and why is it important to you?
So like since the inception of social media, I like to share every point in my life. I don't know, it's like at the beginning it was of course like for my family and friends, and my account was private until 2019, until summer. So I like sharing, and I think that sharing is very important because now we're very distant, and distant and like having so many distances between us, and each of us has their own life, so this is our way to connect. And I think that I have a positive vibe, and I usually try to convey this in what I share in my daily life. I always have something exciting going on, so I like to share it with my family and friends and everything. So this was until mid mid 2019, but I had everything private. And then there was this competition by one of the Middle East's biggest social media figures, Hadia Ghalib. She's very successful, and she's really, of course, you know her, I assume, and she's a very accomplished woman. So she did this competition that people, her followers, could share, her girl followers, for the female followers, sharing travel pictures, and then she's going to choose like the best account, and it's going to win a trip to Greece with her. And so it was a very beautiful experience. And one of the like شروط for المسابقة إنه الأكاونتس بتاعتنا تبقى public accounts. فده اللي ابتديت بقى علشان أدخل المسابقة دي، and I won at the end. ابتديت إنه
You
yes.
have?
Yes,
So great.
it was a really beautiful experience. فمن هنا بقى ابتديت ان انا افتح الاكونت، وكل الحاجات اللي بعمل لها شير بقت يعني الناس كلها بقى تقدر تشوفها. بس لغاية دلوقتي ما عنديش coherent يعني I'm not a professional like Instagrammer, I'm just a social media enthusiast. بس أنا I'm trying to maybe formalize it a little bit, like have coherent content, share something on like a certain given time frame. So I'm still in the process.
I get you, but tell me about this competition. Did you travel to Greece? How did that go? Tell me the behind the scenes.
So Hadia Ghalib, she's the CEO of like a media production company, and she did this voyage. It's called Voyage Entourage. Like I would say it's like the beginning of like one branch of her activities that she's doing. والفكرة إنه يعني بيبقى فيه influencer وإنتي بتسافري مع your favorite influencer. So she was the first influencer, and since she's my favorite influencer, I entered the competition and I won. And it was very good to see the human aspect of one of the biggest social media people on Instagram. انه you feel how much they are. الناس بتشوف انه حياتهم مثالية وانا نفسي اعيش الحياة دي، وما هم دي ناس ما عندهاش مشاكل اصلا، والناس دي اللي ساعات بتكomplain. And then you see no, she's like working 24/7. She has deadlines to meet. She wakes up earlier than everyone. يعني انا كنت بروح منتخة بقى في جريس living the time of my life. And then she had work to do throughout her day. كان مهم ليا الاكسبيرينس دي ان انا اشوف complete picture. You get also to see انه لا social media people they are people like us.
I think it is very important to talk about the human side of public figures, especially nowadays. And according to you, you talked a lot about positivity and those influencers that have positive energy وكيبينوا الشخصية ديالهم and everything. How do you think us as like millennials today can be good influencers or be good Instagrammers? For you, for example, because actually I had the experience مع هاد الانفلونسر, but do you think it is important for all influencers to show also the side that they're working hard, etc., and not just show the positive aspects?
I don't think there's like a have to. Like I mean, if they feel comfortable ان هم يشارك كل دقيقة الحلو والوحش من حياتهم، لأن في ناس شاطرة في ده، اوكي it's 100% اوكي. في ناس مثلا لا شغلها مثلا she's a fashion model and influencer، فمش كل ما يجيلها لحظة صعبة هتحط الموبايل وتشرح للناس. she's working, she's doing other thing. Or her niche on Instagram is not to post everything about her lifestyle. لا she's focusing on a certain area. فأنا حاسة إنه يعني مش لازم، مش المفروض إن الانفلونسرز يعملوا كده، ليهم الاختيار. بس أنا ممكن، أنا زي ما دايما بقول وزي ما حتى in my bio on Instagram، إنه the positive vibes that we convey، أو أي حد on Instagram or social media, they have to be realistic positive vibes. إنه it's not all marshmallows and unicorns and الحياة مش perfect. So at least لما أقول لحد مثلا be positive, at least أراعي شوية. يعني أنا I understand مثلا دلوقتي إحنا في in COVID-19 and we're losing family, friends are getting sick, and yes we have to be positive. بس مش ما ينفعش يعني اخلي الانستغرام اكاونت بتاعي ان انا I'm living the time of my life. ده بالنسبه لي personally. يعني انا ما ينفعش بالنسبه لي ان انا احاول اضغط على نفسي ان انا ابين ان الدنيا كويسه وانا الدنيا عندي مش كويسه. I try to be positive, but then realistically speaking we are all facing challenges. So I keep it like low-key and realistic, conveying my reality to it and my take to it.
Totally. I think it is important to be realistic and be genuine. And I think because I hear a lot of people and they read everywhere on social media that people are complaining about these influencers and Instagrammers that have a lot of followers and that they just convey exactly this unrealistic picture of life that's just so perfect, and they spend their lives posing and creating unrealistic Instagram pictures, and a lot of people have been complaining about this because it just became very toxic to them. It's not realistic for them, it's not relevant, and it's not just it's not relatable. And that's why I asked this question, and I think you've made a good point to say that each person has to do what they're comfortable with. That's one. And also they should try to be realistic, whether it's a positive or negative message, but they just have to be real, and that's what matters. So I really, really agree with you on that. And speaking of influencers, Arab influencers and influencers from the MENA region and all, I want to know if you personally have a lot of friends and people that you know from Middle East and North Africa besides Egypt.
Like generally people that I know or through social media?
But both. I mean, I just want to know this because بزاف ديال الناس من مثلا من المغرب ولا I guess even من مصر ما عندهمش you know automatically they know friends from a lot of countries in this region. And I just want to know for you واش عندك بزاف ديال الناس اللي كتعرفي من هاد لا ريجون في هاد الريجن وكيفاش تلاقيتيهم؟
أنا الأكتر ناس صحابي قابلتهم لما سافرت السكولرشيب أو المنحة بتاعت أمريكا، لأن أنا سافرت بروجرام تبع وزارة الخارجية الأمريكية، وهو بيجمع ناس من المينا ريجن. فدي كان أول مرة أقابل ناس بقى، يعني أنا كان اختلاطي مع المينا ريجن through ستار أكاديمي، لو فاكرة الديلي تي في شو for singers.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, so this was my first like to know like how Moroccans, how are they different from Tunisians and how they speak different from Algerians. And so this is how I got my first interactions of how we are very diverse yet similar in some ways in the Arab world. بس لما سافرت بقى it was like a reality TV show for me. I'm like speaking to people with like different Arabic dialects. So دي كانت experience حلوة قوي، انه كلنا كنا صغيرين، يعني كان اكبر حد فينا عنده 21 سنة، يعني كنا صغيرين جدا، كلنا كلولس جايين من بلاد مختلفة، من بلاد عربية مختلفة، وكلنا في امريكا living the American dream and experience، وكل حد فينا كان في جامعة مختلفة، وكنا في الفاكيشنز بقى والهوليديز بنتجمع مع بعض ونشير experiences. So I think for me we became each other's family, and up till now it's like time didn't pass. So I have best friends from Morocco, from Tunisia, from Jordan, from Palestine, and we speak together and we keep each other updated about what we're doing. So yeah.
I really relate to you a lot because that's exactly how I met all my friends from the MENA region, because it was in a program that's the MAPI Student Leaders Program. I don't know which program were you part of though.
NISA.
I don't know it. Which one is that?
So
Is it still exist?
I think NISA still exists. So there is MEP. You went with MEPI, right? You said, yeah.
Yes.
So there was MEPI and there was NISA and there was another one. So I don't know. They're all with the same American Department of State. They finance and they fund and organize these programs. So I think yours, it was during the summer.
Yes, it's just 6 weeks, but yours is a year.
Yeah,
is that
a year.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like living in a movie.
I know. I spent only 6 weeks there and it was really exciting. And that's also how I got to meet many people from the MENA region, and that I'm still in touch with, and that I also hosted in the podcast, which is really funny. So tell me something I like to ask that I host. What was, before you met Moroccans, because I know a lot of people that listen are from Morocco, before you met them, what was your idea of the people from Morocco and of the country, and then what has changed after you've first met Moroccans?
ممكن الصورة ما اتغيرتش قوي، لأن أنا بالنسبة لي اللي أنا لاحظته، الإيمج اللي كانت عندي إنه Moroccans, they're very educated, very open-minded. They bring together the Arabic culture, but at the same time they're very aware of other cultures. من ستار أكاديمي كنت بشوف إن كلهم صوتهم حلو، أي حد من المغرب لازم يبقى صوته حلو. So, and I saw also while they were like together, no, they're very sociable, they're very open-minded, and they're very accepting for others. ولما رحت البروجرام زاد بقى على ده إنه يعني شعب طيب جدا وشعب بيحب يساعد. يعني أنا بجد أنا ما جاش في طريقي حد مغربي مش بيحب يساعد و offer their help, and they're very successful and they're very accomplished, but they like to push you with them. إنه لو أنا ناجح أنا عايزك تبقى ناجح زيي، هساعدك ونشوف. So this is I mean one of the biggest highlights knowing Moroccans, that they're very helpful.
That's nice. I'm so glad we connected. I want to finish up this episode, because I know I've been talking for like an hour now, I like to always ask people that I host about what is the best advice you've ever been given. It could be something small, it could be something big, but at a certain point بدلت فيك شي حاجة or it changed something in your life.
Okay, so is that the shortest way is to be straightforward أو أقصر طريق هو الطريق المستقيم, إنه to be direct and say like whatever on your mind. I'm still working on it, because sometimes I used to not say if the truth, if I think the truth is gonna hurt this person, no, I try to go around, and I usually think first how this person is going to perceive what I say. This is good, but I used to do it excessively, which put so much pressure on me. So when I was told no, like to just convey the message, be direct, this was one of the best advice that I got, because sometimes you, without feeling that you're putting pressure on yourself, you're actually doing that, and I don't know, sometimes it's not appreciated, sometimes it's not understood that way. So maybe the best way is just to be direct and convey what you think and what you feel.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna include that.
Yay.
I'm gonna work on it too. Thank you so much, Lubna, for coming and being part of this podcast.
Thank you very much. No, actually, I didn't even feel the time. It just time flew by, and it's really nice talking to you and being on this podcast. And I've listened to your previous podcasts, and I really believe that it's important for us as millennials and as Arab youth or youth from the MENA region, from Middle East and North Africa, to have a platform where we could share our experiences. لأن احنا عندنا كنز احنا مش حاسين بيه. يعني احنا لما أنا سافرت وكنت حاسة إنه في جنسيات كتيرة مختلفة، احنا we share the same language, we watch the same movies, بنسمع نفس الأغاني. فاحنا عندنا فرصة للintegration و to share our knowledge and experience، فرصة رهيبة ومش مستغلة خالص.